at this hour, we want to know what you're hearing. And let's start with the Monday night game and Nick Foles named as the new quarterback. Why the change to Nick Foles? What are you hearing about the Colts offense, especially under Foles?
Well, during the portion of the Saturday game between the Colts and Vikings that I actually saw live because I was waiting to get on a plane to come up to Connecticut, you got the sense that they maybe were holding in their back pocket the possibility of yanking Matt Ryan and putting Nick Foles in then. And maybe in hindsight, Jeff Saturday, the coach of the Colts, wishes he had put Nick Foles in at some point in the second half because Matt Ryan simply wasn't doing anything. Saturday said this week, we've got to get the safeties farther than 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Matt Ryan not getting the ball down the field. And remember this, when they first benched him, and Frank Reich said that Sam Ehlinger would be the starter the rest of the season, it was widely believed that that was a contractual move. Matt Ryan has $17 million in injury guarantees that will vest in March if he can't pass a physical. So whenever you are truly done with him, you have to get him off the field and put him in bubble wrap, or you put $17 million at risk. Now, they were willing to do it when they were still alive, and when Jeff Saturday thought he gave them the best chance to win. But now they're at the point where they've seen everything that they need to see from Matt Ryan. He's done. Let's see what Nick Foles can do, and let's protect that $17 million. They already owe Ryan $12 million next year, fully guaranteed. They wanted to avoid it, pushing that up to $29 million.
Yep. I'm not sure there's that much difference between Matt Ryan and Nick Foles at this point, given what Matt Ryan has shown, but there will be a difference between Jonathan Taylor.
I will say this. I think Nick Foles has a bigger arm. I think I don't know that I think he's probably less accurate, but I think Foles can push it down the field further than Matt Ryan at this point in his career can. And so maybe they take some shots down.
I mean, it can't look much worse, so it's going to be different, so why not try it? But
it is
the
big news that Nick Foles is starting. Big news.
Colts officially eliminated from the playoffs last night as well, mercifully, with that Jags win. But Jonathan Taylor's out for the year with a high ankle sprain. His replacements are going to be Zach Moss and Deion Jackson. Mike, what are you hearing about that situation in terms of the split between those two?
Look for Zach Moss to get the bulk of the carries, and that Jackson and Jordan Wilkins, who's on the practice squad, will be bumped up for the game on Monday night. They'll get some of them, but Moss is the guy to play if that's the guy you've got on your roster and if that's the guy you're thinking about from the Colts.
Well, that's helpful then. I mean, especially for the people that had Deion Jackson, and we're thinking maybe he might get some passing down work as well. Jordan Wilkins be in the mix there. But Zach Moss to get the bulk of the work for the Colts is certainly helpful, especially when you consider, by the way, over the last month, the Chargers are like a bottom 8 run defense. That's one thing that you can attack LA on, is you can run the ball. And with Nick Foles under center, why would you want to throw it? It's certainly, at least as long as the game is close, expect a healthy dose of Zach Moss. I think he's a viable flex this week, probably a little bit more touchdown dependent than you need. But let's move over. Let's stay in the same division in the AFC South, and now let's move to Tennessee. Malik Willis taking over for Ryan Tannehill. He's out with injury. The last time we saw Malik Willis, Mike, they would not let him throw. It was a Zach Wilson-esque offense under Malik Willis, where they were like desperately trying to hide Malik Willis. As you see it there on your screen, just 10 pass attempts against Houston in Week 8, 16 on the road at Kansas City in Week 9, under 81 passing yards in both games for Malik Willis. Is the expectation now that he still isn't ready for prime time, so to speak, and they're going to limit him and it's just going to be all Derrick Henry? Or do they have more confidence in Malik Willis? What are you hearing about out of Tennessee these days in terms of their new rookie starting quarterback?
Well, don't expect the game plan to call for 30 passes from Malik Willis, and I think they'd like to try to run as much as they can and only pass if they have to. If they can effectively move the ball with minimal passing, then you just keep doing it. We've seen that in stretches for the Titans where a defense just can't stop Derrick Henry and the rest of the running attack, so they just keep going that way. And if they have to throw it, if they have to put the ball in Malik Willis's hands and hope that he can basically save their season. That's hey, no pressure, rookie. We just need you to go out there and win games for us because Ryan Tannehill's likely done for the year, and we've got the Jaguars on our heels. So I think they want to help him build some confidence. I think that's what you see a lot with guys like this who are young and inexperienced. Find ways to complete high percentage passes, build some confidence, get it down the field on a limited basis, but very strategically after the guy feels better about himself. Just that momentum that builds as you get more comfortable. But they're not going to throw extensively, and I don't think we would have expected them to. The question is, if they fall behind and they need to come back and gain yards quickly, will Willis get it done if that obligation falls on him to literally save the season for the Titans?
Yeah, looks like perhaps Treylon Burks will return for the Titans in this one, and Chigakonko has been a top 5 tight end for the last couple of weeks here, but both guys would be desperation plays for me given the weather and Malik Willis. I would ideally look elsewhere for any Titan not named Derrick Henry. That's the only guy that I think he can start. And Derrick Henry, of course, has, like, I think it's 4 straight games with over 200 yards against the Texans and 2 touchdowns for King Henry.
Yeah. You cannot. You don't want to start Malik Willis, clearly, but you could not build a better game in a lab for Malik Willis in this situation, just given that I think that the Titans are probably going to face more stacked boxes this game than any team has faced all year. So there will be guys open for Malik Willis, or at least in single coverage. Maybe not going to be that many guys open in Cleveland, New Orleans, Mike, where there's going to be 32-mile-per-hour winds. The total there is 32.5. Is there a different approach that you see these teams taking in the conditions?
Well, here's what's amazing to me. Most of the media covering the Saints can't even get to Cleveland for this game. So it's just, that's how bad it's going to be, and that's how bad it is in this area right now. But I saw that Nick Underhill, who runs NewOrleansFootball.com and has covered the Saints for a long time, he suggested that it may be an extensive Taysom Hill day. And I've been saying for weeks, use this guy more. He provides a spark. He creates excitement. He makes things happen. That's been the case for the last 3 years, but they never use him as much as they should. It looks like by necessity we're going to see a lot more Taysom Hill because he comes in with that viable run-based attack that you may need to try to outscore the Browns under very tough weather conditions. So Taysom Hill's just a fascinating figure to me because he shows up as a tight end on the roster, but he does so many other things for you potentially if they just give him opportunities to play.
Yeah, in leagues in which platforms where he qualifies as a tight end, it seems like he's a no-brainer start. We also like Kamara in this game. Worth noting as well, in addition to the bad weather conditions, no Chris Olave, no Jarvis Landry. I mean, they're really beat up in the receiving core in a bad weather game against a tough Browns defense that at least there's one area that they give up yardage, and it's against the run. Like they give up 5.6 yards per carry to running backs. That's among the highest in the league. So I agree with you. I think it sounds like a big Taysom Hill game, and of course Alvin Kamara. You're starting him as well. Last one for me here, Mike. Lamar Jackson looks like he's set to miss yet another game for the Baltimore Ravens. Tyler Huntley, even though he's dealing with a shoulder, looks like he's going to go. What are you hearing about Baltimore? Is this the last we've seen of Lamar Jackson? Is he ever coming back for fantasy managers? It's a contract year for him. He did not want to sign an extension in the preseason. This is a weird one to me. What are you hearing about Baltimore and the quarterback situation and that offense?
Well, remember when he suffered that knee injury, Coach John Harbaugh said it's not season-ending, it's week to week. But when you are Lamar Jackson, if you're anything less than 100%, why are you going to play without the security beyond this year and put yourself at risk? That's the smart play for any player who has just a few games left before he becomes a free agent or eligible for the franchise tag. And that's what's fascinating here. What I've been picking up on this is that the Ravens may be undergoing an organizational shift away from the exclusive franchise tag to the non-exclusive franchise tag for Jackson. And if they go non-exclusive franchise tag, guys, that opens up the world of all sorts of possibilities. Someone else signing him to an offer sheet with, if the Ravens don't match it, 2 first-round picks as compensation, or trade conversations between the Ravens and some other team that may want Lamar Jackson. But, the reality is, to the extent he wants to break the bank, look at the cautionary tales we've seen this year. The Russell Wilson contract, the Kyler Murray contract. Is he really going to get the deal that he's wanted? He wants that fully guaranteed Deshaun Watson contract. I don't think he's going to get it, and it's really going to prompt some soul-searching for him. Do I take the best deal I can get from the Ravens, or do I possibly see if there's another team out there that would trade for me and pay me what the Ravens won't? But the Ravens possibly going to open that door with the non-exclusive franchise tag and invite other teams to come make them an offer. That's where this thing could be heading.
Yeah, and you could see that. It does feel like a little bit of a business decision. It's a weird one, though, because they're still in the playoff hunt. Interesting to see, but appreciate that, Mike. We will see how that plays out, but it'll certainly be Tyler Huntley under center for the Ravens this weekend as well. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay? Respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.